which was a lot of littles, but we had a really good time. And then annually we join with the Child Fatality Board in Phelps County and do Kids Safety Day at Lions Club Park. So that one is coming in the 18th of May, and we always have a school bus there and let the kids kind of experience that school bus theme, talk about school bus safety. That's also when all of the helicopters land. Every first responder is there. There's all kinds of bicycle fun. So that's always one of our really very well attended events. Then that takes us to preschool. So now we are in our current preschool. Just a quick kind of show of what we are looking at right now. So in our pre-K classrooms, that's our Monday through Friday program, one of those classrooms at Mark Twain, one of those classrooms at Wyman, and one at Truman. They are full at 12 in the morning session, 12 in the afternoon session. There are 26 kids right now on our waiting list. As you know, they will remain there, and we'll try to keep serving kids the best we can. So we ran into some community issues this year, just with some closures of preschools, and that kind of cut our partners down. But we are working with them, and that is looking better for next year. So I'm happy about that. So then we move to PUPS screening. So this is recruiting kids who will be our PUPS for next year. We screened 149 preschoolers in 2 days, and that is an impressive undertaking of its own. Out of those 149, 44% of those families reported to us that they have not had any prior preschool. So coming to preschool with us will be their first preschool experience. So sorry. Just kind of over the 3 years, this was another kind of exciting thing, because I finally had 3 years of numbers of screening. In 2017, our very first year, we screened 104 at that initial screening, up to 126 last year, and up to 149 this year. So news is definitely out in the community. I do have 11 on my callback list right now of families who missed screening who would really love to join our program. So we will screen them as well. Just a little visual for you comparing our dial scores. So that's our screening tool that we use of the kids we screened last year based on the kids we screened this year. So the red is the 2019, the blue is 2018. Those are the 3 areas of the dial that we look at, that motor, concepts, and language, and then their total score. So that tells me that we are getting a similar group of kids each year, which is a good thing. If we can just figure out how to get them all in, then we've got this made. So that's even better. Then we move to next year. So now we're looking at where our pre-K classes are for next year. And families have already been notified of placement. They've called me back then and secured either a morning or an afternoon spot. At Mark Twain and Truman, those programs are now full for next year with 12 in the morning, 12 in the afternoon. We have 5 on a wait list for both sessions there. Then at Wyman, so as you know, that's our building that houses 8 of our programs. That square box in the top looks very similar to those last 2. That program is also now full with 4 on the wait list there. And then on the bottom is the breakdown of our peer and our low incidence, that high health needs population that is at Wyman. This year, one very minor change is truly just a scheduling change. As you know, we currently are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday class, no class on Wednesday. We're transitioning next year to a Monday through Thursday. Give us 4 good days in a routine with those kids, and then no class on Friday. I also proposed that to our private partners to make sure that would work well with them, and they were very, very excited. Their numbers are down usually on Fridays, so it creates less of an impact on their caseloads. Then the numbers that I have up there for you, those are only our peers. So our early childhood special education kids are in those, and we're currently building classes right now. As you can see, that morning is very popular. Families can drop off as they come to school. We can bus them to their private partner spot, and they can pick them up, you know, when they get off work in the afternoon. The afternoon spots, they will fill. We will add spots to those. I'm confident. Families right now are kind of holding on for a morning spot to open, which traditionally so far they do not. And then we still will remain with that one low incidence class that we do not put peers in, and then a self-contained class. They have peers in the morning, so half of their class will have 4 of our peers. So that kind of allows us to fill as many pre-K spots as we possibly can. So
is that number similar to this year's?
It is. It is. Okay. Yes. It is. We are full with 5 in the afternoon now, but I'm confident we will be most likely before school's out this year. So we have 2 new partners this year, and so they're not confirming spots with families just yet. They're just trying to figure out their caseloads, and so I think once they can secure a spot with a family, then they'll go ahead and join us for the half a day. Okay, so then, now we've started with babies. We went to preschool. Now we're going to move to kindergarten. These are the big kids, remember. So just kind of trending numbers for screening. This does include our current preschoolers. So we spent 3 days in April screening kindergarten kids here in this building that are not currently part of our preschool. Our students who are currently in our preschool, we actually took our show on the road and we went to their schools and screened them there rather than their families having to leave our school and come to our school. So this number right now does include all of our kindergarten kids. It is down a little. I do expect it to continue. We will screen kids as they enroll over the summer. We'll do a May screening and then another July screening to ensure they're all screened before they start kindergarten with us next year. Just kind of so you know how we advertise for screening, social media is a big one. We also put information in all of our medical clinics in the community. We send a note home with Head Start and all of our private partners, and then newsletters. The building administrators use School Messenger just to send out as a reminder that it's coming. We did this year kind of backed up our pre-K and our K screenings really close together, knowing that as we have fewer kids coming through kindergarten screening, we may be able to put that all together, and I think we're definitely progressing in that direction. This one is probably the slide I am most excited about, just because ultimately we know this is our ultimate goal. Just kind of our trend of attending a local preschool program. What we want to know is how many of our kids have experienced something before they get to us. In 2017, the first time I checked on this, we were at 62% of our kids. Last year, we were able to go to 70%, which included our preschool program. And this year, 88% of our kids coming into kindergarten will have attended some sort of preschool. So we are getting there. At what I would say a very nice rate. And I think if you visit with many kindergarten teachers in our district, you can tell that they will celebrate that number with you also. So that's always a good thing. I always just kind of put this in here just to know the importance of screening. We do use this data to build our classes so that we get a good mix, a good blend of kids. Probably key, and I think my parent educators would tell you the same thing for us, this screening does allow us to refer if we need to. We do find extreme vision delays, extreme hearing delays, speech and language delays, where we don't diagnose, but we can certainly refer, and families are usually very thankful to find those things out before they actually enroll in school. And so that's kind of, within our Parents as Teachers program, that's one of our favorite celebrations, is when we guide parents to resources that maybe they thought they didn't need right away. So, and then it's also just a good time to meet our families. I always tell my ladies this is the first go at the next 14 years of these families' lives. So we've got to get them here. We've got to make it positive. We want them to know that Their child is our best interest, and so and that is the beauty of us having the space and letting them actually come onto campus and, letting them have all that together here. So that's exciting. There's some of our magic happening. So we do also in the fall screen in our private preschools in the community. So we screen their very early threes. So the kids who would not be old enough to come to us next year for preschool, we come in and do the screenings. They invite us in, and we always gladly show up. And that one happens to be at Green Tree, and they just find us tables and chairs, and we just take over the gym. So it's always a fun time. This is probably second in my favorite slide of the presentation tonight. So red are our pups. Those are our preschoolers right now. This is the screening results compared to the blue, which are our kindergarten screening kids that we did right here in this building. So we know those kids did not have us for preschool. Those numbers in red, those kids did have us for preschool. And as you can see, magic happens in preschool. So our kids are doing very, very well. Last year when we did this same comparison, it was still a positive growth. This year it is very much more so. We're in year 2 of our preschool curriculum. Our preschool teachers are very confident with the curriculum and really, really moving forward with that.
Laura?
Yes.
Back on that slide. So do you have data to be able to segregate the blue to those students that have not had preschool versus those that went to another preschool?
So the blue out of which ones of those have attended another preschool and no preschool at all?
No preschool. I'm really interested in the no preschool versus the ones that have preschool and
Yes.
what impact the preschool's having on the dial for.
Yes, yes. Yes, I can pull that data very easily, and I'll share that with you, for sure, yes.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Whoops. And finally, before I take any questions you have, I just want to just kind of show you one of the fun partnerships. That's one of my favorite parts of this job, is I just get to be friends with everybody, which is very early childhood-like, so that's very helpful too. These are pictures from an Easter egg fun morning. This was the Saturday before Easter, and it was held at Mark Twain. And this was all put on by our early childhood careers kids. So they are juniors and seniors from Rolla and sending schools, and we had the whole gamut there. They cook breakfast and serve to our families, and then they set up different stations for our kids to do, and then they wrap up the morning with a big giant Easter egg hunt that is always a huge hit. But these kids have been in our preschool classrooms, if they have been with us for 2 years, over 400 hours. So they have relationships with our preschool kids. They ask about them. They want to know where they are. They tell them about their day and those kinds of things. And I mean, they took a whole Saturday. We got there at 7 that morning, and I think we left about noon. And they just to watch them interact and to understand that they know about eye contact at this level and, open-ended questions and waiting for responses and things like that is pretty fabulous. So what questions do you have for me?
I'm
Laura,
excited.
Laura,
Yes.
I will ask a question.
Sure.
You said of your 149 pups, 44% did not have previous preschool. How does that compare to the first 2 years?
That's right on.
So that's about what it is.
Yes, yes. And so we ask that question. How I gather that data is we ask that question when they call to enroll for a screening. So we just say, what preschool have you been? The community partnership likes that. They like that data also because they're in private preschool partners, and so we share that with them. And what our trend has been on 3 years is the same. We're seeing about the same number, and then, we're just continually being able to climb with our kids that we get enrolled. So,
Thanks.
Laura, you may have mentioned this, and I'm sorry if I missed it, but how do you identify the parents as teachers' families?
so our parents as teachers' families are identified by a number of ways. So we do recruit. And we do recruitment at probably our first one every year is the Healthy Baby Fair, which is held at the Eugene Northern And that's just a ton of child-type initiatives that are in the community, and so we sign up families there. We also sign up just by word of mouth. A lot of our friends, families, my favorite story they always tell me is they go to an apartment complex or something, and before they can get to their car, another family calls them out and says, hey, can you come visit me too? Those kinds of things. We take all of our interest cards into all of our private preschool partners' facilities, so they have them all there to share. And then the center playgroup is probably one of our biggest recruiting missions, because families hear about us through the center, and so we just always tell them to show up. Just come to playgroup the first day, and we'll sign you up there. And we get a ton of families from there. Mercy, Phelps Health, and the health department send us probably 3 to 5 families a month that they have shown some kind of interest within their facility, and then we call the families out and set up a visit. We currently are at a waiting list in our Parents as Teachers program, which is the first for us in my 3 years. We have about 17 families that we hope to pick up in August.
Thanks.
The other question I have, and I don't know if it's for you or if it's for Craig and Aaron, but
Okay.
we need to show results at some point in time, or try to figure out how to explain to the community their investment, what results their investment has brought. And so how do we do that with following on as these kids get older? How much has this program benefited them in their learning? So I don't know if that, we don't test them till they're third graders, and I don't know if we've got the granular data at that point to tell that here's the kids that didn't have preschool versus the ones that did, and so this is the difference in learning that we see, or?
Yeah, we can work on that.
Yeah, we were talking about that, we've talked about it as recently as today, so.
Yeah.
If her dissertation wasn't 3/4 of the way done, that would have been a good dissertation topic.
Yeah, I don't know if I have 2 in me, but I can always try. But
first
yes,
book.
what's that?
It'd be your first book.
My first book. That's on my bucket list too. So there's always,
Or maybe a documentary.
or maybe a document. See, look, the options are endless. Yes.
Good idea.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
Laura.
a lot.
Good job.
All right, we'll move on to our communications year-end report. Mrs. Zervas will present on the communications program and review from this school year. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me tonight. Rounding the corner to close out the end of my first school year here. It's been a really great year. I've learned a lot. I'm very excited to plan for the future of district communications. I'm just so grateful. I wake up every day to a job that I love. Most days I feel like it loves me back. So thank you for the opportunity. It's been a really great year. So I just want to start off by sharing with you some of the things that we're already doing and some of the methods that we have in place. Of course, social media is a fantastic tool for us, and we rely on it heavily to reach a whole lot of people very quickly on different platforms. So I'm going to go into some detail with our heavier hitters here in just a minute. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, of course, are the 4 primary. We have great relationships with our local newspapers, and I'm going to talk more about that here in a minute. And we also have a fantastic partnership with Results Radio. Dr. Zalis and I frequent the Morning Mare at least once a month, and that is always an interesting moment. It's a lot of fun. There we go. So I want to talk briefly about Facebook. It's definitely our largest followed, or it has our most followers out of all of our social media channels. A few fun facts about our Facebook page over the last year. We've increased the fans from just over 3,400 to almost 4,200 from July to April. It's a 22% increase, so I feel like people are really starting to notice, and it's gaining some traction. Our average post reach for the third quarter was about 5,000, and our average 28-day reach was around 40,000. So we're finding that this is where our parents and our grandparents are. The students are on Facebook. They just don't want you to know that they're on Facebook. So they're quietly watching in the background. Lauren's nodding her head. So they're there, and every once in a while they'll tag their friends and and turn up that way, but for the most part, we're reaching parents and grandparents. So the little graph in the corner, I know the numbers are tiny and you can't see it, but those spikes where we get up over 20,000, those are mostly snow days. So those posts get a whole lot of attention. If you match up the dates, they're spot on pretty much. A few calendar notifications and things like that tossed in there. These are just some examples of some successful posts and things that have worked well over the course of the year. Again, a snow day post on the left, that calendar post in the middle, although I will never make another post on April 1st regarding any sort of official announcement because everyone thought the last day of school was a joke on a Monday, so no joke. But I love this, and I love looking at these numbers because it not only gives me a picture of what people are looking for in terms of content, they're looking for not just announcements and some of these more official things, but also these culture pieces. People love to go and see their kids, their grandkids, their friends, their neighbors. They love to see people they know highlighted on our page, and so that's been really exciting in just building that human connection with our patrons. Instagram is new this year to our district. I set up the page in the fall of 18. It's been really successful so far. If you're not following the page and you're on Instagram, please go check it out. Instagram is just a little different. It's very visual and lighthearted and fun, and we're finding that we're connecting with a lot of our students there. So sometimes the content is the same as the other social media channels, but I really try and make it about, by, and for the students. And so if you scroll through there, you will see the announcements that go everywhere else, but also just, again, some fun and easy content. So right now we have just under 1,200 followers. It grows weekly. My phone blows up a lot with Instagram notifications from this page. And it's just been it's been a lot of fun. Someday. I'll get there. Thank you. So just a couple quick comments about our press and newspaper relationships. We've tried to streamline all press through a central point of contact this year, meaning most press releases are going out through my office and then into a central point of contact at both the Rolla Daily News and the Phelps County Focus. Again, they have been wonderful media partners with us over the last year and previously, of course. The Focus has been kind enough to add me in as a guest writer, so I write a bi-weekly column, topic of choice, so if you have suggestions, I'd love to hear them, because that 2 weeks rolls around really fast. And it's done a good job, I think, of expanding our reach into the community. So I have a lot of people stop me, like in the grocery store or other places, and say, oh, read your article, and ask me a question about that. So they've served as really good conversation starters. We also partnered with the Phelps County Focus to start the first ever Sowers internship. Maya Bond was selected as their internship this year to pilot this program. It's a paid internship, and she writes a weekly column, and she's done a really great job. So we're excited about that and to continue that as well. Just one more way to connect the school and the community. A couple quick comments about video production. Our YouTube channel in the past has been very heavy with board clips, which are wonderful, and lots of recognition. So my goal that's slowly moving forward this year has been to add some new and fresh content to that. So you can see just some title screen shots there. District 31 News is a new thing, and it's just sort of a as-needed basis when we have a topic that could benefit from video explanation, or maybe something that's too long for a social media post. I've been trying to put together short, under 3-minute videos on those topics. So we did one on the calendar committee and that process, and then Laura Brown helped me out with one, and we featured early childhood back in the winter. So, also of special note is the first ever communications internship. So Daniel King, who you know very well, is the former student board rep, has taken on an internship with me. He started in January. He's done a great job, and he's really helped me out with a lot of video production. So I certainly couldn't go without giving you this little sneak peek of our new district website. It's still in very early stages, so I'm excited to show you this as it develops, but this is a little bit about what it'll look like. The new website and the mobile app, I just I anticipate they'll be premier sources of district information and just kind of create a whole new world of communication for us. We're still on target for August 1st as our launch date, and we're working on content migration and other construction pieces of that. So we hope to be encouraging parents to download the custom app and visit the site at open house and during those back-to-school communications.
That's very exciting.
Yes, it is.
And it looks like a lot of work.
I've been really trying to contain myself over this. Not easy. So moving into the actual plan, which is on pages 41 to 47 of your packet, just know that this plan is really a combination of the current groundwork, things that have been done in the past, my vision for the program, and feedback from the focus group and district-wide survey that was conducted last month, and just built on that foundation of district mission, beliefs, and goals. So I know you all have had this in your hands for a week or so, so I'm certainly not going to read it all to you. You're welcome. But I do want to point out a few new things. This page is going to look really familiar. You all are familiar with the mission, beliefs, and goals of the district. But the communications mission statement is new. The idea of the mission statement is just to reach people where they are, create a lot of repetition and emotional connection, build relationships, which you're going to see a lot through the plan because it really is the most important piece, and just having easy access to that information on all the platforms we use. Feel free to stop me anytime with questions. Let's see.
Thank you.
Oops. Okay, how do I go back? Can you back me up on Myra? Oh no, I was right. Never. Okay, yes, this one. So on page 43, we just took a close look at the audiences, internal and external. Successful communication is always founded on knowing your audience, just a critical piece. So we identified those key listeners, and when I say we, I'm talking about the focus group that helped me develop this plan. Those members are all listed on the last page of the plan. And then we worked to embed strategies into the plan that would reach these key listeners. So again, the interpersonal and community visits have been a big focus over the last year and will continue to be so because again, the relationships are the most important part.
So Gina,
Yeah.
one item that's not on any of those lists are the radio interviews, so I don't know where they would fit.
Okay. Radio listeners, yes, absolutely. I can add those for sure.
And where does the alumni kind of fall in?
That's another piece we can add. Yeah, thank you. So in looking at the strategic goals, or the CSIP goals, I really just went through and selected the ones that house communication and pulled those into the plan. So first and foremost, under number 1, sorry, let me get there because my sheet is too small to read. So number 1, helping the district, sorry, I'm going to back up just a second. Yeah, sorry. I missed a piece. No, good. This thing is a little temperamental. Okay, so we talked about knowing the audiences, the communication goals, specifically the strategic goals. I like how communications has obviously been pulled into preparing for this, the communications regarding the long-range facility planning, and I anticipate that will continue to be the case. On number 3, I just wanted to point out focus direction, including consistency, repetition, and stability with communications. And then not to skip too many of them, but number 5 in particular, using new and current technology. We have a lot of really great tools in place, So just continuing to expand on what we have and look for opportunities to fill the gaps by soliciting feedback, which leads to the metrics at the bottom. Technology is our friend in terms of the metrics. In many cases, we can just run a report. So on the new website, we'll be able to do that very easily. We'll actually have an auto-generated report weekly, and we'll be able to see where people are going on our website, the most popular information, and then of course monitoring that site for broken links and things that need to be fixed is going to be of great importance. On the next page, communication channels, you'll notice that we've shifted heavily towards electronic communications. That's of no surprise. Most of the print communications have electronic counterparts, and again, those interpersonal visits are going to be of the utmost importance. I'd like to include on the interpersonal visits just FaceTime in the buildings, and that's not one that's listed there, but something that I've focused on this year, just spending a lot of time at each campus and getting to know the staff and students. Okay, now on to the goals. I'm on page 45. So this plan, of course, will be posted on the website, so if you're watching at home and in need of some riveting reading, you can go there and pull this report and pull the plan and read through it in detail. A few things I wanted to point out are just the newer strategies in line with these goals that have not been in place up to this point, that were either added this year or will be added in the fall going forward. So under strategy 1, where it talks about building and maintaining relationships with current and incoming volunteers, writing an article, the second week of April is National Volunteer Week, and this year I recognized our volunteers through the Phelps County Focus article, and I plan to do that annually with a slightly different take each year. The volunteer program, also known as Bravo, I would like to implement a Facebook group for them and change up our recognition system and replace the traditional fall luncheon with a welcome reception and orientation. That way the new volunteers can get to know the seasoned volunteers. We can outline expectations, share stories, and just really bring those new volunteers into the fold and make them feel welcome. I'm also very excited under the next strategy, utilizing social media to reach all stakeholders. We've already talked a little bit about Instagram, but I'm really excited to launch the official district hashtag in the fall, hashtag Rolla BULLDOGS. I know we've used Bulldog Pride a lot in the past, but other people use Bulldog Pride too. We still can, but Rolla BULLDOGS will be unique to us, and that will serve a couple of purposes. First and foremost, to catalog our posts. So if you go on Twitter right now and you type in hashtag Rolla BULLDOGS, everything that's hashtag Rolla BULLDOGS will come up in one thread and you can read it all. I feel like that's a really exciting tool to have. We can also use that to monitor how we're being tagged, and just create some brand recognition and consistency. Under 1B here, working with early childhood director as a strategy to design effective media pieces. Laura Brown and I have absolutely been in contact over the year to update some of those media pieces that were already in place. She's got some great ideas about pups passports and a few other things, so I'm excited to work with her over the next year. And as I mentioned, we did a district news piece highlighting early childhood. On the next page, page 46, a few newer items that I'd like to point out. Most of these action items we've already discussed when I went through the first few slides and talked about what we already have in place. But I'd like to place some emphasis on working in coordination with the tech department, Ginger King and her team on the long-range facility plan survey, which you're going to hear a little bit more about tonight. I'm excited about this annual State of the District. In March, Dr. Zales spoke at the Rolla Area Chamber of Commerce luncheon, We've scheduled him again for next March, and I anticipate that to be a repeating pattern as long as he's willing. It's timely in terms of time of the year and other things that we have going on that we'll want to communicate, and just a great way to reach a large amount of business and community leaders in one place. It was also suggested on the district-wide survey that I put out that I schedule a half-day each month at each campus, giving them notice in advance to say that I'll be there with my camera. So I'm excited to implement that and maybe have a little more focused direction on photography and getting eyes and ears in the classroom. I cannot say enough about the new website and mobile app. All of my school PR contacts have all agreed that updating their web presence and mobile app it's just been a game changer for them. I plan to work to update and make uniform our district newsletters with the help of building principals and secretaries. So look for more information on that. And then one other piece of that I'd like to point out, on the plan it talks about creating the centralized flyer display location on the website. It's the last point under that last strategy. We recently partnered with a company called Peach Jar to get a centralized flyer site set up, or page set up on our website. It'll be a little button that looks like a peach, and when you click it, it will open up and show all of the current flyers for each campus. And we can filter those from district-wide, where they show up in each campus, or just specific to each campus. So that's going to serve a couple of groups. One, if I'm just a middle school parent, I can just view the middle school flyers, or if I want to see everything that's going on, I can do that too. This service also generates a weekly email based on your preferences. So it will send out an email and say, hey, here are all of the events happening in the district, so you can find them all in one place. It also offers a registration option where they can click a button, if it's applicable, they can click a button and go and register for the event. So it's a very neat addition to our website. You tell I'm a little excited about that. Yeah.
We are too.
Yeah, very good.
That sounds great.
Okay, finally on the last page of the program, I'm almost there, I promise. In terms of staff recognition, I started doing staff spotlights on our social media pages. Those have been really popular, and so I'm excited to continue those and, highlight some of the good work that our very talented staff has been doing. I've been sending out a weekly email on Tuesday to remind staff of Teachers Corner and housing other reminders and requests in there. And then again, just focusing more on that fun classroom culture content for our YouTube channel. So, listed there is the communications focus group. They helped me immensely in tweaking this plan and finding some direction with it. And thank you again for your attention. Happy to answer any questions, take any comments.
I would add to her peach jar comment. It's difficult to remember it's peach jar, but currently when someone wants a flyer distributed in the district, it comes to our office, Stacy, and then we either give them bundling information, we have to disseminate it out, have to make decisions about, what campus it goes to. So that central clearinghouse will be convenient for both, from a recipient standpoint and for a posting standpoint. So I know Stacy in our office is very excited about it. She and Lori was helping her the other day when Gina came in to talk about it. So it's been a big hit internally too.
There's also a little ticker at the top of the page, and it shows how many trees you've saved by not printing the flyers and putting them there. So that's kind of neat to watch too.
It's all peaches.
Yeah, it's peachy.
Mrs. Irvas, so in addition to our district-run communications, I'd also like to suggest we include collaborations with our student-led, the RHS Echo newspaper, magazine, and rhsecho.com. I know you came out to visit us one time, and I think any future collaboration would be very appreciated. I think it would help share student perspectives with the community and also help improve our own readership too. So.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Been kicking around the idea of student takeovers. So maybe some more information on that, but yeah, I'll pick your brain a little bit.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
Any other
Great job.
Comments or
Great job.
questions for Gina?
Good stuff. Love the direction. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Been a great first year.
It
Thank you.
has been a great first year. Thank you for all your work.
All right, we'll move on to salary recommendation. Dr. Zalis and Mrs. Atkinson will present the 2019-20 salary for certificated, administrative, and support staff, along with the extra duty stipends and substitute teacher pay.
Let Mrs. Atkinson start. So these are, some of these slides you'll recall from her budget presentation, our last meeting, and we'll go through that, and I'll be the color person, and she'll be the lead, so. Till it comes to the recommendation.
Okay, so we're going to start with actually reading to you the mission statement to keep in mind why we're having this particular discussion this evening. It is the responsibility of the Rolla School District to provide, in partnership with the community, the best educational opportunities possible for our students through a commitment to excellence in personnel, facilities, curriculum, and instruction. To that end, CSIP goal number 2 is to recruit, attract, develop, and retain highly qualified staff to carry out the district's mission, goals, and objectives. So, in order to reach tonight's discussion and recommendation, we have met twice now with the Central Office Advisory Committee, once on April 9th and again on the 22nd. We have reviewed all of the district's current data, data looking forward, and also state budget information as it has become available. This is a familiar slide from earlier in April. Nothing really has changed here. The state legislature has approved, it looks like, full funding for next year. However, there is quite a revenue gap for the amount that is expected to be received. So I am planning on budgeting for an SAT of $6,308 per weighted average daily attendance. So that's an increase overall of our main revenue sources of $645,000.
So as Kendra pointed out, next to the last line is the range, and that is full funding versus the 6308. As we talked about last meeting, we're just now receiving full funding as of March at 6308. So it's kind of the baseline that we built the budget upon. There's 10 days left in the session, give or take, and we know nothing more about revenues other than full funding. And as what's been stated, I think there's some discussion still about transportation between the House and the Senate, moving from 5 to 10 million, but we already kind of knew that going into our last meeting, so those variables haven't changed. But the range is still there for that purpose. We're hopeful for the right side of the range, but banking on the left side.
And again, this is also not changed from early in April. Movement on the salary schedule. Cost is $398,200. Each 1% increase to the base is just under $300,000. We are meeting with the insurance brokers here in a couple of weeks. So we have no more information at this time regarding our health insurance for next year and how those RFPs are coming in. So the total expenditures increase that we're anticipating at this time is $1,163,400 for salaries and benefits.
So as you mentioned, we did meet with the Central Office Advisory twice in April, shared these same numbers, and told them we're hopeful that the 12% health insurance increase won't be a reality. And based upon previous years, we've budgeted more and came back with a lower amount, but we have nothing to justify that at this point. But we don't anticipate 12% now. So what you see there is obviously larger than the right side of that range. So that represents this number represents a deficit spend projection. But as you know, we overestimate the expenditures and try to underestimate our revenues and budget conservatively, so we come in just fine. So the recommendation, I'll advance.
So before we get to the recommendation, most of you are familiar with the Camdenton Salary Survey that we put out each year. It's a list of 26 districts. There's a lot of information in that. The thing we look at for tonight is primarily the step 1 incoming teacher salary. We are assuming that we increase the base by 1% and move everybody a step. We'll be at number 13 on that schedule. That's basically a difference of $6 or $7 between us and the next higher district.
Oh my gosh.
So we do look at the first step on the salary schedule. Would say this year, as you look at our recruiting class thus far, we've got more beginning teachers than we had in years past, and we don't make a concerted effort one way or the other. Last year, we only had 2. So, you know, you kind of look at that number, and is that number at 13 impacting our ability to attract new teachers? At this juncture, we would say no, because we're not far from one of the top spots. And our salary schedule's indexed with an overlay and to try to mitigate some of that impact as well.
Currently, again, we're budgeted for an ending fund balance of just over 23% for this year. But as Dr. Zales mentioned, we do budget conservatively, so at this point, I am hopeful we're going to come in closer to around 32%. That fund balance is what can carry us to have to go ahead and offer salary and benefit increases.
As we shared with the committee historically, while others are doing more drastic things, the volatility and what we're able to give our staff every year to achieve CSIP Goal 1 is rather steady. And this is no different this year. So our recommendation for the salary schedule, which is in your packet, it would be a 1% increase on base plus movement on all support and administrative and teacher salary schedules, which equates to an average 2.3% increase for next year. We've shared this information previously, shared it with the Central Office Advisory. A few of them are here tonight. We appreciate them attending meetings, and we've been very open with where we're at, so happy to answer any questions.
So we need a recommendation to accept this?
Please.
I will recommend that we accept the salary schedule for 2019, 2020, as stated.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions or
I
anything?
just comment that, you know, year after year, we end up about even.
Correct.
So we have faith in your numbers, Aaron. And everybody end up there again, so.
Reasonably comfortable, and the word reasonably is every year. I feel like a broken record, but I'm just happy that we're able to continue to move forward. That's consistent. Kendra mentioned the Camdenton Salary Survey Group, and that data set is important to us on a variety of fronts. We not only look at it comparatively speaking with teacher salaries, but we do lunch prices, administrative salaries, sometimes tax levies. We use that data set because there are schools of similar size and those that might compete with us. Our conference schools are included in that, and I've kind of kept you apprised of what our conference schools are doing. So, you know, we've got to continue to keep up with the Joneses, and you hired some staff tonight that we're able to recruit here because it makes good business sense for them, but then the culture is that way too. So high expectations, good staff is why we're in the achievement mode we're in too. So thank you for your support for that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. We're a little off there. Any opposed, same sign. We'll get it together. Board of Education, future issues. Our next board meeting's May 16th, and then June 6th, and then Friday, June 28th. That'll be a morning meeting on Friday the 28th. Our summer dates, I don't think we've approved the July date, and I don't think we've approved the August date. Is that correct, Myra? Okay. July 11th, and then August 8th or 15th. Do you have any recommendations or?
We're here.
Either way? I know. First day of school is the 13th. So, would it be better for us, is there anything bill-wise that we need to meet the 8th, or would the 15th be okay for August? Kendra? Okay. I wasn't sure.
Myra, I will not be here on the 6th of June.
And I'm not either, trying to be here.
Well, well, well.
Anybody have any objections to the 8th of August?
Good at this point.
We need a motion to accept the July 11th and August 8th meetings for our
I'll make
summer
that
meeting.
motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. There you go. We'll move on to our old business. A long-range facility and program update. Dr. Dare and Dr. Zales will discuss planning updates. Exciting planning updates.
Yeah.
So we have the latest version of the survey. We're going to kind of walk you through tonight. I know some of you have been able to see this in different forms, and we do have some formatting things and a little cleanup that we're still working through. I do want to take note, Ginger's here, and Christopher's back there, but Ginger, Christopher, Jeannie, Brenda, all of them have been working very diligently to try to work through some of those issues and put this together for us, and we appreciate
Gina,
their work.
too. All
Gina,
of them,
yeah.
yeah, it's been a tremendous effort. And Mark, too, to get finally get the video to us.
Takes a village. So, obviously you've seen the survey before, but we'll walk you through this, and of course, if you have feedback or anything, we'd be happy to listen.
RD will get you a link to this so you can take it, and then you can provide us feedback too. You're tech savvy, right? Yeah. You're
He's got it.
All right, Myra, if you'll scroll down, obviously, same introduction in the 7 areas. Survey begins with what we're calling focus areas. So focus area 1, talking about safety and security. Myra, if you want to click the link there. So each of the questions will have a link that will take the patrons to the information that we have for each one of those sections. So safety and security, again, is kind of she killed it. User error. No, I'm kidding. I'll keep talking through that. We'll come back to it. Obviously, for safety and security, we're just kind of proposing some general ideas, not great specific things there. Again, we appreciate Ginger.
I noticed that some of the things that we have talked about proposing, they talked about just recently at the university, Charlotte, that they had that immediate lockdown. Every student on campus got that message, and they said they thought that helped so much in that terrible time. But I was thinking, that's some of the same things we've been talking about on our campuses.
I was fortunate to attend the MOASBO conference with Kendra and some of the business staff, and several of the sessions I went to were on safety and security, and it's the same conversations. Every
I bet
district's,
so.
looking at those,
Communication.
anything to improve. That's what we're doing. We want to improve the safety and security. Okay, let's go on past number 1. Number 1 is just that summary sheet that you've all seen. So if you'll scroll down to question 2, we have some new things for you to see. So again, on the performing arts facility and the auditorium, 2 options. First one being the standalone facility. Sure.
Unless you're gun shy.
And scroll down again. So you'll see those same site plans and floor plans that we've presented to you in the past.
This is my favorite one.
Well, I want to point out, Dr. Creedy had pointed out earlier that scroll back up. That video is related to question 2B.
Shouldn't be on that page.
Well, but you have to look at the difference, stop. You have to look at the difference between this one and what 2B is. So, in the second option, 2B, the gymnasium becomes the auditorium, so you look at the schematic, and then the first thing you see is the video. That's one of the things that we had talked about, possibly editing. If the person scrolls too far, then they're gonna get you're still gonna get the same thing, it's twice. But if you imprint this in your mind, you see the blue is a small area renovation of the music area with the auditorium being the facility that's out towards Cedar Street, and then you move to 2B. Back out of this one, go to
Yeah, back up and go to back to the survey.
the other thing we talked about doing, it was Christopher, I don't know if you did it yet on the net, we have a later version in this where take me back to the survey button or directions. That'll get you out of where you are back to the survey.
Oh, good.
Yes, thank you.
Did you hear that? They all said, oh, good, so I agree.
Click on the
And so we're asking for them to give us an opinion about each of these options.
Yeah.
They may not be able to see those buttons
No,
at
keep
home.
going down, scroll down to 2B
You can when you pull it up.
Yeah.
and click that link for us.
Yeah, so Jim's question was where you see agree strongly,
Stare.
strongly agree, those are rather large. I've taken the survey on my desktop, now I can't take it anymore, because you can only take it once. So I have to go to somebody else's machine to see it.
Okay, so this is the latest rendition of the work that Honer and Associates did for us with this concept of what our gym could potentially look like as an auditorium. It's okay. So I want to point out and make sure that, I know you all know this, but just to clarify again, this is a conceptual rendering. So the questions about how many seats are there, how big is the stage, all those things are not determined yet. It's really a feedback piece. We want to get comments about what people think about the concept. So there's a lot of detail that would have to be worked out in that, but there are a lot of things just to show what it could potentially be. So then,
So
click.
let me ask that question.
Okay.
So Charlotte's question was if I wanted to watch that video again before answering the question.
The picture, it's quick,
It is quick, yeah.
and so I was like, where's the I want to see it again button?
So with it being on YouTube,
Is it that little, like, half circle that's down there? Okay. Okay,
You can freeze it and go through the slow-mo.
slow-mo.
and it is quick. We did shoot for a short video simply because the download time and graphics and those things, longer videos get to be rather
Absolutely.
large.
Right.
Yeah, even with the compressed format. Yeah, our hopes would be people will watch it over and over and over.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, Myra, click next for us. And you can click on that one, that's fine. So this is question 3. This is about the junior high performing arts spaces. Start to see a little difference in these. So the site plans keeps going down. The floor plans are there. And then Gina was great to go around and take some photos for us. A couple of options there. And then we just, we realized a lot of people probably have not been in these spaces, so we wanted them to have an idea. We're not trying to show them anything other than what's there. Pictures of the band room, pictures of the current locker room. Locker rooms, I'd say.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you all want to walk through all of these, maybe not.
Just one question, you know, with that, the 2A and 2B being so close in talking about the auditorium, is it clear enough for the average person to know that this answer goes with this question up here?
So
And
one of the
this
things I noted today, and we haven't talked, but one of the things I wondered, you know, we have that next button in there that's about 3 questions in. I don't know if we want to do each question, and then a next, and then, so maybe 2A, and then a next, so that 2B is separated.
Because the scrolling down, I know what they are, and I got a little confused which one
Sure,
was for which.
sure, yeah. So I think we'll work on breaking those out a little bit. We'll have to talk through that process, but.
It's easy for us to say as we look up to the experts.
Right,
back
right.
of the room.
You can do that, right, Ginger?
We can do that, right, Ginger? Christopher?
So, but no, that's a great point. We
Yeah,
want it to be as clear as possible.
Yeah, the whole purpose of pushing it out to people is to get that kind of feedback, and that's good.
We can continue through those if you'd like. It's a very similar format from this point forward. So.
What's your pleasure?
I'm good with it.
I've looked at it. I think
Lauren,
most of it's
Lauren,
enough.
how's it, what do you?
It looks great to me. No criticism. Looks good.
So,
And as we said, we're still tweaking and working on this, so we don't have a launch date, you know,
I was just
yet.
gonna ask you that.
We're projecting soon. We'd like to get it out before school gets out, so that we can help with the notifications and that kind of thing.
And is this something
We
that
want it to be a good
we'll
fit.
use Gina's methods to, you know, her Facebook and Instagram and all those?
All of them, and then
All
we talk too that, you know, Mr. Hounsel, Dr. Dare, myself, we go to groups to talk, we just walk them through the survey. You know, they can take their phone out and do it while we talk about it. That kind of more focus group discussion to get that word out to where the link is, so.
And we'll do that internally and externally.
Yeah.
We'll do that with our staff. and outside as well.
Yeah, we absolutely have to start with our own folks first.
And then we do have the open comment boxes where they can add just comments, you know, if they want it specific.
It looks great. The video was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
know, it's really good. Anything else on that? Okay, Lauren,
Yes.
you have
Okay.
some comments for us?
Yes, I do. So every month I say it's busier than the last, and it continues into this one. So I'll start with news and events going on at the high school. All of you got little invitations tonight, little envelope that was from Dr. Pritchett, delivered by me. So on May 23rd, the high school's art gallery is going to have its official open house, which is very exciting, so I hope everyone can come to that. Also at the high school, as some of you probably know, our Project Lead the Way biomedical program has just about completed its 4th year. And so we had our first 2 students to complete the whole entire program, and we had our first white coat ceremony where they received their little doctor, well, I mean, they're not doctors, but you know what I mean, doctor's jackets for completing the program. Also at the high school, we have a lot of end of the year events going on. So Mr. RHS, have any of you been to that, heard of it? It's basically a pageant for high school men who want to have fun and make a little fun of themselves on stage and dance around, and it's a fun time. That's going to be May 3rd, which is tomorrow. I can't tell you the exact time, but I'm sure you can find it on our website. Our band and choir concert, our annual concert at Leach, is going to be next Tuesday and Wednesday, and I believe our tickets are sold out. Prom is on Saturday. It's going to be at the new Signature Event Center out by I-44, so I'm very excited for prom. We're in the midst of EOC and AP testing right now, and then finals week is coming up way too soon. So for our seniors are going to take their finals next Thursday and Friday early, since they're leaving us a week early, and they'll be gone on next Monday. I think that's right. Next Monday? Yeah, okay. And then for the rest of us, we'll be taking our finals the week after. And school is so close to ending. It's kind of sad and relieving at the same time. So over to the junior high, they just began their map testing, and that's going to continue into next week. And tomorrow, the junior high is having an invitational track meet. That's going to be at 1:30, if anybody can make it over there. Our 8th grade band kids, they went to Silver Dollar City today, and they got to perform. I'm not sure how they placed, I'm sure they did well. And let's see, I think that's all at the junior high. Oh, one more thing. The junior high's parent committee has an end-of-the-year dance planned for May 10th. Not sure what all that entails, but I'm sure you're welcome if you walk in and want to dance. So,
Bring some cookies.
yeah, bring cookies. Okay, and then on to the middle school. They're having their annual spelling bee on Monday, and that's sponsored by the Optimist Club. And at our elementary schools, Mark Twain is having their annual talent show next week. That's May 14th. I also don't know the time for that, but hopefully you all can come. And Wyman has their end-of-the-year ice cream social coming up, and that's going to be sponsored by the PTO. And I think that is just about all the events going on. And the next meeting, I will cover graduation and any other end-of-the-year events that we have. So,
Wonderful.
yep,
Lots going on.
lots going on.
Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah.
Draw your attention to the written reports and monitoring reports. And anything else before we adjourn? Do you have a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make the motion, we go into closed session.
I'll second.
And how do you vote? Tony?
Yes.
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 And we're in closed session.